Hey everyone, welcome to NoLife TV Podcast. This is I'm Wizzy along with Major Problems and Cave Ferret. Today we'll be talking about ghosts and ghouls. So, we've all played some games with ghosts and ghouls. Most prominently, like we've played Phasmophobia, Bigfoot. What was that other game we played?
Lunch Lady.
That
was a good one. Obviously, we've known in like Dead Space and stuff like that. You know, the usual console horror games.
Yeah, all those.
You've got Dying Light,
Five Nights at Freddy.
Outlast was a damn good game. Five Nights at Freddy, of course.
So, how do you guys feel about like spooky games and spooky stuff?
I'm kind of a pussy. I fucking love playing through them, especially if they have a good story. I mean, I'm talking Resident Evil storylines. Like I said, Outlast was a really, really good story. Dead Space, had a really good storyline for it. If it it's kind of tough to say. If I'm genuinely trying to be scared and, you know, play through the story for fun, then I'm picking up those games 100%. They're so much fun to play. But if I'm just trying to have fun with friends and, you know, scare the shit out of my friends, I'm playing games like Hunt, Phasmophobia. Well, what's that? The one where you have to be quiet, right? The monster can sense you based off of how much noise you're making in game.
The grandma one?
No. It's not the grandma one.
Which one are you talking about?
It's. I'll have to Google it.
Throw it up on the screen.
Not that one. No. Is it called Stifled?
I don't think I've heard of a game like that.
I don't know, Gabe. That doesn't sound good to me.
It's relatively new on Steam, but basically, it's a multiplayer game, right? You've got like 6 people in the lobby. One of them is the monster, and the monster gets visual cues based off of the audio that they hear. So if you're walking around next to somebody and you step on a branch, the monster's going to hear that, and instead it's going to show up as a visual indicator on his screen to be able to locate you. But his screen's super blurred, super hard to actually see. So if you're being completely silent, like let's say you're in the same room as it, and you're standing completely still, it's going to be really hard for the monster to find you until you start making noise.
I get you.
So it's basically a dinosaur.
Yeah.
The one I was actually thinking of was Deceit.
Deceit's a good one.
Deceit's a really fun horror game, like for friends. But for me, like horror games are more like I rather play with friends because I'm never gonna play them by myself. I get too freaked out. I have a clip of me playing Phasmophobia where I just weenie out. I scream by myself. It's terrible. I shiver and shake. I'm not really good at solo horror games. Maybe like Resident Evil. Because those are kind of fun. You're like more interactive, like you're shooting. But something like Phasmophobia, Lunch Lady, where it's like an objective-based game and you don't really get to kill the ghost. Like, I'm freaking out and not having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, something that I don't like about a good amount of horror games out there is, and something that I really like about Phasmophobia, is that a lot of these horror games really rely on jump scares as their scare factor. So when I base a horror game as to whether it's truly a good horror game as opposed to a game that just scared me, I don't base it off of... Well, I kind of base it off of how many jump scares there were in it, right? So Dead Space, really, really creepy game. But throughout the entire 3-series game, there was maybe 3 actual jump scares in it. Everything else was suspenseful horror. And that's kind of the same vibe that you get from a game like Phasmophobia. Every once in a while, there's going to be a jump scare. The ghost is going to appear in the same room as you and stuff like that. It's kind of scary. But what's really scary about it is, you know, when the ghost finally spawns and you're being chased down, you're rushing to try to find a place to hide, and you just hear that heartbeat and the footsteps behind you. That is what's truly terrifying to me in a game.
And the jump scare in Phasmophobia is just at the very end after you've been chased for like a solid minute.
Right.
And
Your
it like
heart's already
snaps your neck.
racing.
And you end up you see the screen go fade to black and you go to the nether.
But like, if you take it, a game like Lunch Lady, for example, that game really wasn't that scary to me because, yeah, it kind of had that similar sort of chase aspect to it and stuff like that. But the real way that the game tried to scare you is when the lunch lady finally caught you, and it would just be her ugly ass face in front of your screen, and all it was a loud noise and a big flash on your screen.
Oh,
and
but
like,
it's such a terrible flash.
I mean, it's a terrible flash, but it's a cheap way to scare someone.
It was really just like momentary scared.
Yeah, I mean, I could give you that same sort of a jump scare just by putting a screamer randomly in this video. Like, 3 minutes from now, there's just going to be a random fucking screamer, and you're going to jump. It wasn't really that scary. For all you know, it could be fucking Elmo's dumbass face, but it's still going to scare you because it's just going to be a loud noise, and your initial response is, oh shit. But it's not
that's going in the video now.
Fear. What?
There's going to be a screamer 3 minutes from now.
Yeah, no, there better be. But that's kind of the point I'm getting at, though, is like, you know it's coming, but it's still going to scare you just because that's the nature of a jump scare, and it's not actually scary.
What about you, Major? What's your horror video game experience?
I mean, I fucking hate them. Don't get me wrong. But hear me out. I don't fucking hate them because, oh my god, I'm such a pussy dog. I'm afraid of being scared. It's just that the whole horror genre lately has been revolving around the jump scares, and that's bullshit to me. Like, a game that does that provides its content just by jump scaring is not actual scary. Like, the only scary game I would say that I actually played and pissed my fucking pants was that PT game, and it was just because it was intensely horror. Like, you actually felt fear every single time you went into the same room again and again. Like, it built up on the previous tension that it creates, right? So that's scary to me. But like playing, I don't know, like Five Nights at Freddy's, fucking Lunch Lady Galore, or SpongeBob Afraid Adventures, or whatever the fuck it's called. Like, that's bullshit to me. Like, you're just doing some random objectives, and at the end, oh no, it's a big old SpongeBob. He's gonna come and bite your ass.
Yeah.
I mean, that's stupid to me. That's not scary. And like, as you said, Dead Space as well. Like, how many times were you actually like genuinely scared in Dead Space if it was not a jump scare? Yeah, there were monsters, but like, fuck, that's Alien versus Predator in a nutshell. You know, like I recently played the latest Resident Evil, you guys know, and that shit was not scary. It was a puzzle game with monsters, but like the actual. So the way I get scared usually is if it's something that terrifies you constantly, like not like, let's say, Slenderman, where you get fucking chased every other second by the Slenderman. Oh, it's the big Slender dude. He's gonna fuck you rip my butthole. But actually, you know, I don't know what the hell's going on almost all the time, but I know something is out for me. That shit's scary to me. But not like, you know, like an actual chase. That shit's bullshit. Just like the jump scares.
Well, I think horror in general is a really, really interesting genre because there's a lot of aspects that really have to go into it. Because to me, for a game to be scary, it has to be immersive. You have to really lose yourself in the game. If you're going into the game knowing, oh, this is a joke, nothing's real, blah, 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 it's not going to be scary for you. You're just going to play the game with kind of the thought process you have, Major. It's just a puzzle game, and every once in a while there's an ugly monster running around. And I can see why that wouldn't be scary, but I also feel like as long as you immerse yourself in what you're doing and go, you know, full balls to the wall, like you put blood on your face and like go ahead and put some props in your room and shit, and it's probably going to be a little bit creepy to you, you know? Obviously, no one's going to go that far, but with the immersion aspect of it, as long as you're getting into it, you can really make a lot of games scary. I mean, take just Minecraft, for example. I don't know how many people have just sat up at 3 a.m. in their pitch black room mining in a cave, and all of a sudden you just hear these cave noises, but because you're so engrossed and immersed in Minecraft, you're fucking looking behind you like, is there a fucking creeper behind me? You hear that tss, and you just get scared out of your mind. So I think the first and most important thing in a horror game is making the game immersive for the player. If they're able to get themselves into it and have a good time in the game and take themselves out of reality, which is what all video games should do to make a good game, is let the player get immersed, then they're really going to get scared by it. But kind of going along with that, it goes even deeper in the sense that after you've immersed the player, what kind of horror are you going for? I don't think jump scares is the right kind of horror most games to be good should be going for. They need to be immersive. You can go with a suspenseful route where you don't know what's happening. It's confusing. It's scary because everything's new. You could go for, a chase sequence like Phasmophobia did, where the real fear comes from trying to stay alive, or horror such as like a slasher film like Saw, where the horror comes from like the grotesque shit that you're imagining, kind of like Resident Evil.
I would say that that is one thing that a lot of horror games right now don't have, is like a lot of different levels. Like they play through so quick because they all have like 1 or 2 levels and then you're done. Even Phasmophobia, it has like 6 matches, but the playability is a little more varied in Phasmophobia, where there's always something new you have to find, and it's never like the same area the ghost is going to be in. But a lot of these games just have like 1, 2 levels. There's not much to do. You finish it all, and now you're kind of bored of it.
Yeah. Well, something that I... Go ahead, Major.
No, so just on that, like I feel like that's where the horror genre faces the most issues with, because like going off what Tony said, like you have to be yourself immersed in the game, and that goes to all the video games, not just the horror genre. But because the horror genre does not have that much gameplay element to it, it basically plays out mostly as a movie that you're like the main character and you're in a shitty ass situation. You have to be immersed into it. And with other video games, you can focus like on gameplay, on fucking graphics, on different aspects of the video game. But when it comes to the horror genre, the only thing that you want to be focused is feeling shitty, feeling needy, feeling helpless, right? So
I don't know
that's
about
what
shitty. Like, I want to feel like suspenseful. I want to feel like scared. I want to feel like there's a pit of dread in my heart. Like there's a sinking feeling in your chest,
Yeah, but that's
like,
feeling shitty. I mean,
it's like
you're not.
dangerous. I wouldn't call that shitty. I'd call that like a sense
No.
of...
Major only feels 2 emotions in his life. Either it's pure bliss or just shitty. Like he stubs his toe and it's not like, oh fuck, I hurt my toe. It's, God, I'm so shitty right now. So shitty.
Major doesn't know fear. He knows shitty.
I'm sorry, I don't experience the whole spectrum of emotions like you.
Listen, I'm just enlightened. I've opened my third eye.
I mean,
You've
I've
opened your
opened your
third
third eye,
butthole.
and it's not that much anywhere. But like, that's what I wanted to say. Like, if a game needs to be immersive to be good, then it's gonna have an issue, because not all games can pull off the immersiveness, right? Like, you can pull every single game out of the fucking genre and say, yo, when I play Silent Hill, fuck, I feel like I'm in Silent Hill, man. Like, that's not gonna happen. Like, if I gotta turn my lights off, if I gotta put candles on, fucking get my mother to put blood on her knife and fucking stab me through the door just to feel some scare from, I don't know, amnesia, then shit.
Well, I
That
feel
ain't
like
a
when
good
you're
game, dog.
I feel like when you're playing a horror game, you prep to be like immersive. Because you're playing a horror game, you want to be scared. You're turning the lights down and stuff. You're gonna do that stuff regardless because it's a horror game. Like other games don't need that, and you don't expect to do it because it's not like the concept, you know? When you go into a game to be scared, you're gonna set the environment so you're like at your most vulnerable to be scared.
I mean,
I don't
I
do that.
think that games just in general should, even if a game doesn't have to be immersive to be fun or scary, I think that every game should strive to be immersive or scary, because the more immersed you can get your player base, the more often they're going to be coming back for more. I mean, you're going to have games that this kind of doesn't hold true for, like Gary's mod. I mean, how the fuck are you going to get immersed in Gary's mod? But if they strive towards that level of immersion that other games try to go for, I think it only ever can be better for the game. I mean, I don't think any game's going to be better by straying away from immersion. And even if you're not forcing yourself to get immersed into it, I still think it's a kind of responsibility on the game's end to try to get you immersed into it. I mean, I can think of, every game that I enjoy playing is an immersion based game. I play a lot of MMOs. The whole point of an MMO is basically to live a second life. Just forget your reality, immerse yourself in the world. That's what makes MMOs good, is how well you can get immersed and live out a different life inside of this game, right? Or even games like I said, brought up earlier, Minecraft, when you're just sitting there playing at 3 a.m. by yourself and you just really just feel like a fucking, I don't know, blockhead running through, chopping down some trees and shit. You're not thinking about your actual life. You're just in the game at that time.
Yeah, I get what you're saying about Minecraft. Like, you want it to be immersive. You want it to be like, I'm the miner. I'm in there digging in the mines, and all of a sudden I see a creeper. I'm freaking out. I'm like trying to swing at the creeper. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm freaking out. I can't manage to get my shit together. And now I'm dead because I freaked out, got scared, and the jump scare got me.
No, so I get what you're saying with that. Like I said, I agree with the immersion aspect, trying to get people into games and stuff like that. Something that I do kind of want to move forward with as far as this topic goes is kind of extending it outside of just the realm of video games and the horror genre in general, right?
I was just gonna bring that up.
Hey, dude, we're like
we're like so in sync, man.
Wavelength, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, we got like 3 brain cells linked together, I think.
Yeah, dude. Between the 3 of us, and we're like,
one human being. I mean, not a very smart
Let's not bring math into this.
Yeah, way too many numbers today. But what I was gonna say though is, like, kind of talking about these different horror games and stuff. Like, the one thing that truly scares me above all else is realism. If I can imagine the scenario happening to me, that is what truly makes something terrifying to me. In fact, one of the scariest movies ever that I watched was Strangers, because it's literally just 3 people that showed up at a house to kill the people, And, like, that's so scary because that can genuinely happen to anyone at any time. You can just be sitting on your couch, 3 dudes in masks show up, torture you, and then kill you.
So, like
that's fucking terrifying.
What was that movie? Oh man, why can't I think of the name of it right now? It was something in Hollywood.
Yeah?
I can't think of it.
Anyways, there's a lot of things that come
I try to figure that out. Why don't you say something?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, modern day horror fucking sucks. Like, don't get me wrong, when I was a kid, I grew up with a lot of like old style movies like Alfred Hitchcock and shit like that. And that man knew how to make shit scary. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of it has been repurposed and reused over the times. But right now, I cannot single out a single horror movie, a book. Not that I read books, but a video game. Like, nothing in the last couple of years has actually spoken out to me like, oh my god, this is scary, man. Like, I cannot do this. Like, that level of scary. Except for that PT game. That PT game is fucking that's gonna bring you trauma, dog.
All right,
like,
now
that's a fucking good game.
Let's ignore everything Major just said because I figured out what I was talking about.
Oh, that's toxic.
Have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
No, I haven't.
Nope.
So the majority of the movie doesn't like apply to this, but the very end, it's just like 3 dudes show up to this dude's house and they're just ready to kill people because like that's just their thing. They're like some anarchists and they want to go kill people in the Hollywood Hills. And it's like that could just happen to you at any time. Like some dudes could just decide like, yo, I want to kill the people in this house. And that's kind of terrifying that at any point some kind of freaked out people just decide they want to kill you.
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing that really defines horror in my eyes. It has to be something that a scenario that I can imagine myself in, because I cannot see myself getting, I don't know, attacked by Godzilla. You know, that does not scare me. If you take like the Resident Evil movies, or what is it? I don't think it's Resident Evil. It's Resident Evil is based off the movies. It's like the Silent Hill movies or something like that. Or is it that Silent Hill is based off them? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there's just Resident Evil movies.
Yeah, I mean, it might be, but like I can't imagine those scenarios. Zombie movies don't really scare me because I can't imagine a zombie apocalypse happening. It's not something that I could be faced with at any time. So stuff like that doesn't scare me. It's when, like, the Hollywood movie you were talking about, or The Strangers, when I could just be sitting on my couch and somebody could come up and stab me in the chest. That's shit like that. That's what's truly terrifying. I mean, Paranormal Activity, Poltergeist, Annabelle, none of that shit's really that scary to me. It's creepy, don't get me wrong, but it's not gut-wrenching terrifying like I find myself when I'm watching something realistic.
See, those movies actually do scare me for the pure fact that I have no way to prove that none of that exists. And so sometimes I'm just like thinking about it like, what if it does? What if it doesn't? And I'm like, oh, but what if it does? And then I'm like watching the movie. I'm like, oh, the spooky fucking ghost Toby's going to get me. He's from the other realm. Some dumb bitch downstairs summoned him and now he's in my house. Oh man, I can't close the curtains because now I just hear like a whistling in the wind and I think Toby's in my room.
So dumb. Okay, I actually got a story for you though. What was that, Major?
I said, Wiz, you're kind of a pussy. If you want, I can repeat that for a third time.
Yeah, can you say it a third time, please?
I said, Wizzy, you're kind of a pussy.
Alright, Wizzy's a pussy, confirmed on podcast. Okay. Alright, story time. So, when I was a wee lad, I think I was like 9, maybe 10, my parents didn't give a shit about what I watched. I grew up on movies like The Ring. I was watching that shit when I was 6 years old. The Grudge when I was 8, stuff like that, right? So we're all hanging out in my uncle's house, and we're watching the movie One Missed Call. The premise behind that movie is basically this demon wants to kill people, calls your phone, you get that call, you're dead, good luck. And it's just like dead air, basically. So we're all watching that movie. It's hitting like the climax of the movie. The lights are off. It's dead silent in the room. We're all laying down watching this scary ass movie. And then all of a sudden, my dad's phone rings at the same time that the phone from the main character rang in the movie. He answered it at the same time the main character in the movie answered their phone. And in the movie, it was dead air. Now, my dad always opens his phone with the phone on speaker so he can hear what's happening in the background. And it scared the ever-living shit out of all of us because it was also dead air on my dad's phone while we're watching this movie. We had to turn the entire movie off and like fucking board up the windows because we thought we were about to get murdered by some random demon ghost. And that was probably the scariest experience I've ever had watching a horror movie. And to this day, we don't know what it was. I'm 85% certain that it was my uncle or our aunt playing like a fucking trick on us. But it's still so terrifying that literally all of that happened so well with how it happened in the movie. Just the dead air and everything.
I was going to say, that would be a hilarious prank.
Yeah, again, I'm pretty sure, but they haven't come clean about it. I don't think they will.
Like 12 years later. Remember when you guys are hanging out and I just called your dad in the middle of that movie?
Bro, little 8-year-old me didn't know what to make of it. I'm pretty sure I slept underneath my bed that night. I was like, yeah, bro, they're gonna know I'm on my bed. They're not gonna expect me underneath it.
See, the movie my parents let me watch that they totally shouldn't have was freaking oh man, now I'm gonna space the name. Oh, it's such a terrible movie. God damn it. It was like had to do with Hellraiser.
Oh yeah, Cabin in the
Hellraiser.
Woods.
Hellraiser scarred me as a kid.
Oh yeah,
Like them peeling back the flesh, and it was like trying to determine the boundaries between pleasure and torture. And me as a little kid, I don't understand like what they're going on about. It's like some sexual fetish type torture pleasure thing.
yeah.
Dudes
The
are getting
themes behind Hellraiser are super fucked.
yeah, like their skin's getting peeled back, and there's like monsters, and it's like Pandora's box. You don't know whether it's pleasure, torture, but it's somewhere like edging the line. And man, that is not something you should let a 6-year-old watch.
Oh, without a doubt, no. And it's like it's supposed to be sadomasochistic beings. So, like you said, they can't differentiate between pain and pleasure, and the whole thing is just like fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not kink shaming anybody here. Maybe we have a sadomasochist in this call. Like, how would you know, Gabe?
Major over here, like, yo, that's my kink.
I'm not singling out anybody. I'm just saying, like, maybe some people derive pleasure from that, and that is okay.
So me and Cave are both saying that's not our thing. So Major, what are you saying?
Yeah. I mean, two out of 3 people aren't a sadomasochist. It's not me. It's not Wizzy. So
it must be Major.
Yeah.
Hellraiser's
doesn't count as people for me.
Hellraiser's not a horror movie for Major. It's a porno.
Yeah.
I don't remember Hellraiser, to be honest. I watched so many horror movies that I remember one horror movie. I don't know what the fuck it's called. I'm too lazy to search it. It's all this shit anyways. And like there was this house and everybody was dying one by one and nobody knew who the killer was. And like I jokingly said at the beginning of the movie, yo, watch that fucking newborn be the killer. And in the end, guess what? The newborn was possessed and he was killing everybody. And that's when I realized, yeah, horror movies are kind of shit.
You know what movie that
like,
scared me a ton when I was a kid, but like I look back at it now and I'm like, wow, this movie is terrible, is fucking Chucky. Chucky was one of the dumbest premise movies.
Okay,
ever.
Here's the thing: is original Chucky genuinely was a fucking horror movie. And then, as you get into the newer and newer movies, it divulges from being a horror movie into being like basically an adult comedy, like a gory Ted. You know,
But
like it's
even
not.
Even the original
horror.
Chucky, like, wasn't really horror. Like, I went back and watched it, and like, there's so many funny one-liners and just like bad moments in the movie, and,
Well, you
and
also
it is
have
kind of like a comedy horror.
You have to take into consideration, though, kind of the difference in horror nowadays versus horror back in, the 70s, 80s, when a lot of these films were first being released. I mean, Child's Play aired in 1988. Hellraiser was 1986, 1987. These were
That was some good Googling
movies.
right there.
I was actually already reading about it. But these movies back then really, let me rephrase, because we're kind of getting into like the line of cinematography at this point, but before then people really only had access to scariness in the form of folk legends and
real life
like stories that they've been told in ultimately their own imagination. With horror being introduced as a genre in big cinema, basically, it really pushed the envelope of people's imaginations, because before you had fucking what's his name, Clive Barker, with his fucked up imagination about sadomasochistic beings that just wanted to rip flesh off people because they don't know the difference between pain and pleasure. If it wasn't for his fucked up mind deciding to put that on camera and showing it to the entire world, how many people do you think would have actually thought about that? But now, because it's in theaters and now it's the first time people are seeing this shit. They are scared out of their mind. They can't imagine something like that even coming out of somebody's head, let alone fucking seeing it. Nowadays, all of this stuff is second nature to us. Everybody knows Hellraiser. Everybody knows Pyramid Head. Everybody knows
I've never
Jason
heard of
Voorhees, Michael
Pyramid
Myers.
Head.
Well, either way, the majority of people you come across, they're going to know these big names. At that point, we're desensitized to this mundane horror of somebody's arm getting ripped off. You look at somebody who gets shot in the stomach and had you never seen that before, it would have been the most shocking thing to you in the entire world. But after having watched Saving Private Ryan and Hacksaw Ridge, stuff like that, you see someone get shot in a movie just casually, and you're like, bummer, dude.
I mean, yeah, you play all these shooting games now too.
Holy shit. Yeah. So a lot of it is like every single time something gets released, it almost has to be bigger and badder than the last thing that was released. And after 40, almost 50 years of horror, it's kind of hard to be original and push that envelope further. I mean, Saw in itself was kind of fucked up. Now you see somebody saw their leg off and you're like, oof. I mean, it wasn't as bad as Saw, though. You know, like, it's not like, holy shit, it's
yeah, these psychological horrors I still think really get to you, because it's more of a, like, this could actually happen to me type thing. Like, some dude could kidnap you and put you in a cell and be like, hey, saw off that leg if you want this guy to live.
Yeah, but that's like, the thing is, the psychological aspect of Saw is terrifying as far as the torture that they have to go through and all of that, but the gore is not. And I think that's a big difference in what defines Saw as a horror movie, because it's, if you take it approach it as the aspect of a psychological horror, yeah, it's pretty fucking terrifying. If you approach it as a slasher film, it's not really that scary. It's a little bit of blood and guts, okay? You know?
Man, I actually saw the original, like, concept of Saw, what they kind of, like, sold before Saw became, like, a series. And, man, I think that was more terrifying, like, than what they released. Because, like, the first edit, it was kind of the same thing. Like, this dude's in a trap, got to be rescued, and, like, this detective basically has to get all the clues and answers to get this dude out. And it was just this giant jaw contraption around his head. And it opens at the end. So basically, it's like this big tank around his head, or like this big metal contraption, I guess you would say. And it was like put into his mouth. And when the timer went off, it was basically going to rip his, like, jaw from his skull. And, like, that to me, like, if you see something like that, that is absolutely horrifying, like, cringe. And even though it doesn't happen in the film, like, he gets him out, the thing activates at the last second and it opens, and, like, you can just feel it. You don't have to see it. You can feel what would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that's almost horrifying in a way to me.
No, I feel like Saw actually made it because it touched upon a lot of horror subjects. Like, if you look at the surface, it's just a lot of blood and gore. But, like, who is the main antagonist? It's an old dude that finds out he has cancer. And all in all, cancer is really fucking scary in real life. And he figures out he has nothing to lose. So he starts doing his own judgment upon the world, and he starts kidnapping. What does he kidnap? Random ass people. But one day he kidnaps a kid. Like, there's this fucking crazy maniac that kidnapped a kid to prove a point to a policeman. Like, it touches upon multiple horror subjects in our lives that makes it scary. And then it all covers it up with blood. And I think that's what Saw did really well. Because let's face it, if it was just one dude, like one fucking dude, a 30-year-old that just randomly kidnaps people and puts them in like these shitty ass situations, and he's like, well, if you don't escape in the next 5 minutes, you're fucking dead. nobody would look at Saw and be like, yeah, this shit is scary. But just because it had those layers of fear upon fear instilled into the film, I think that's what made it actually scary. Like, yo, this could happen to me. I could be the killer and I could be the victim in this movie. And that shit's fucking scary because you don't know when you'll flip the coin. You don't know when cancer will hit you and you will start doing some nasty ass shit to other people because you just don't care about life anymore. Right?
Yeesh.
So I think that's what Saw did really well.
Are you telling me that's where you're going to go, Major?
What?
Wizzy, we're not throwing things, but I'm just saying 2 out of 3 people in a Discord call are killers. It's not me and it's not Wizzy.
When they find out they have cancer.
Yeah. No, but with that being said, I think something that honestly Saw messed up on was the fact that it was so gory. Because while I completely agree, all these underlying subjects are terrifying to think about, how many people that watch Saw read that much into it? The majority of people that are watching Saw can barely move past the fact that they just saw some guy's throat got ripped off by a head trap, you know? And they're not going to see the underlying premise of, holy shit, this guy is like an evil genius. He has brainwashed 2 people into becoming killers alongside him. He has kidnapped people who really didn't think they'd done anything wrong until this kidnapping. And without really reading into it or truly understanding the movie, the only thing you're focused on is the shock factor of seeing some guy cut his own leg off, or 2 dudes deciding who should die when they're in a threesome, but instead killing the girl because they're bros, you know? Like, it's hard
life.
for a lot of, at least in my experience, I can't speak on behalf of the entire world here, obviously, but in my experience, a lot of people have problems moving past that gore aspect to truly understand what these movies are trying to portray.
No, don't get me wrong. I 100% agree with you. Not every single viewer saw it on that level, pun intended, saw it. But
oh god!
We're off the podcast. I hate you.
Yeah. Oh my god, you're kicked off. You're fired.
But I mean, there were people who, because that's what we were talking about earlier about the immersiveness of horror, right? And you have to be able to relate to the characters to feel yourself immersed in that universe, to be yourself like, oh my god, Saw might be after me next. What did I do wrong in my life? Or, oh shit, I can become Saw if something turns bad in my life.
Major, I feel
That's
like
what
you really, I feel like you really want to be Saw.
Major is totally going to be Saw. Oh, guys, okay, guys. Here's a disclaimer. If Major Problems becomes Saw later in his life, we do not condone this. This podcast is not about that. We will try to stop him, but most likely he will kill some people.
He does not speak for me. I speak for myself, and I say I don't even know who this man is. He just joined the call.
Oh yeah, we actually don't know Major Problems. Who are you?
Hello, Tony and Fat Kid.
Fuck.
I want to play a game. Tonight,
oh my god,
this has been your last podcast.
Why do I get Fat Kid? Why does he get Tony?
Yeah, I'm not fat, Wizzy. And I refuse to prove it to anybody that I'm not fat. Just know I'm not.
We're cutting the video from this.
In the next 10 minutes, I expect both of you to go on a scale, and whoever shows up less on the scale, whoever has less kilos, because
I'm taller than Tony.
It's happening in fucking Europe. So
can we do this based on my height?
No, Wizzy, you have to cut off. You have to cut off.
Yeah, exactly. You have to cut off your limbs if you want to cut some weight, because you don't have enough time in 10 minutes to lose weight. Let the games begin.
Like I that one girl in
jacks, maybe some push-ups. That might be okay.
You guys remember that one Saw movie where the girl, like, they both have to cut off more flesh, and whoever cuts off the most wins? And the girl cuts off her entire goddamn arm, and the guy is just cutting, like, little slivers off his body. Like, how stupid is that guy? Like, bro, literally, if you had just done one big, thick belly cut and just slapped that shit in the weight thing, there's no way this dainty little girl can beat you even by cutting off her arm, and you're still not gonna die from that, homie. Like, he did that. He caused himself the most pain he possibly could have, while also being too much of a pussy to actually cut off more. Don't get me wrong. In that situation, I am also dying because I am not cutting off my limbs to save my own life, dude. Just fucking kill me. It's not worth it. But he's trying to survive. He's actively trying to fight for this win and doing it the worst possible way.
Like, I would just cut off. I would just cut off my balls, dog. I would instantly lose like 75% of my body weight. Like I would instantly win. There's no way a woman in this world weighs more than my fucking balls.
Okay,
I
hear me
cut
out.
off my dick though.
You cut off a finger and then put your body on the scale and say that you cut off your body.
That's actually big brain.
That's
big brain. You draw a little smiley face on the finger. And
yeah, you give it a little face.
Saul just wheels himself out and he's like, "You've solved my puzzle."
you have to draw a crying face because the finger's in pain after cutting off its body, right?
I think it's like from the head down you got to cut off, man.
I don't know, man.
Just cut off your head and put your body there.
Book. Come on, it's not like a rule book. Like in section 6, paragraph 8, you cannot fucking cut your finger. That's not a thing. Fuck it.
Yeah,
but it was in the terms and conditions. No, it was in the terms and conditions, Wizzy, all right? Did you not read them? Apple has it.
Oh, my God. Saul puts the terms and conditions out before he kidnaps you. And then he brain wipes you.
You have to sign a waiver.
Then he just brain wipes you. In today's day, that's how Saul would work, you know? Because he'd get canceled.
Yeah, Saul would get canceled.
He's like, I gotta make you sign this waiver before I kidnap you. It's kind of a legal thing.
I know I saw this girl cut off her entire leg, but that guy was shirtless. Cancel him. You showed nudity. I don't care that you cut someone's head off. You showed nudity. You're out of here.
You cannot show nipples, and I'm pretty sure I cut off one of your nipples when I kidnapped you. My bad on that one. I'm gonna say that was my bad.
That's just gonna get blurred, okay?
And also, if you don't want your voice to be heard, like if you want to blur anything out, feel free to sign this. We usually do it to everybody. Like we just need you to understand the repercussions if you don't sign this.
Look, if you don't sign this, we just kill you, and you don't get to participate.
All right.
And a lot of GDPAs on our asses,
so we agree Major is a serial killer. Me and Wizzy would probably end up the victims, and I would be first dead.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, something I do want to talk about, too, though, is kind of moving into the supernatural genre, because I remember you mentioning, Wizzy, that, like, you can't prove what's real and what's not, and that's why even though something to me is unrealistic, such as a ghost coming and cutting my finger off and then shoving a knife up my butthole, you are saying that you can technically imagine that. Your mind goes to the place where maybe it is, maybe it isn't real. So what kind of things do you believe in that could happen?
All right, so I'm a pretty big non-believer.
But, oh shit, so Bigfoot?
But, oh, no.
Loch Ness?
Blakefoot's in the jungles going meow meow meow.
Mothman? Epstein. Oh shit!
Epstein. Oh god! Oh god! Damn! He's coming after us all. But see, I don't believe in Epstein is a zombie, but maybe he's a paranormal specter that's coming back to rape me.
Oh.
Dude, just to put a pin in that, you know, there's actually a fungus that makes you an actual zombie.
Okay,
well, it doesn't.
Like
okay,
cordyceps? Hannah, how does that work?
I don't think it makes you a zombie. I think there's bugs that makes a zombie.
No, it is. It is a fungus that makes zombies out of bugs.
Yeah, out of bugs, not out of people.
Yeah, but you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. You could be. They could come back. There could be something that makes people zombies.
Listen, I actually know a decent amount about this subject, so bear with me. The entire movie, The Last of Us, is actually based on the theme of what Major's talking about. That these cordyceps, which I was right, infect humans as the fungus and brainwashes them, and that's why that's The Last of Us zombies. That's how they function, is these cordyceps. Effectively, it's a fungus that just, self-propagates its, by infecting its host. it makes the host, and like in the sense zombie, the host is alive. It's like a brain dead person being controlled by a fucking mushroom, and the mushroom is like, "Yo, bro, go over there because that's going to be my highest chance of reproduction." And so that it controls the ant's body to do that. It's generally found in tropical forests, and it mostly is limited to, it looks like, ants, which if you guys don't know how ants breathe, and I'm not trying to say that I'm an expert on ants, but
so Tony, the ant expert, can you tell us how ants breathe?
So as far as my understanding goes, and I'm sure I'm going to get flamed for this because I'm sure I'm wrong, but apparently they don't breathe in. They don't have a diaphragm, obviously. They've got an exoskeleton, and as a result, instead have pores on their body that oxygen flows into, and that's how they get their oxygen. It's not like they're actually breathing. It's kind of like how a coral, like water flows through it and they absorb the nutrients effectively. And so the fungus reproduces by floating around in the air, getting sucked inside this ant, and then they get infected by it.
Ah, interesting.
How is that relevant to the fact that humans might one day get fucking destroyed by a fungus?
Because it only infects ants.
For now.
But he's saying like there could be a different fungus.
It might evolve at some point.
It might evolve, but...
So I'm going to say this. I think if we're going to have a zombie apocalypse, it's more going to be like I Am Legend, where there's like a cure for cancer or something. And it doesn't get the right testing or something. And now everyone's zombies. You know, you get inoculated, you think you're fine. It was like 2 years down the line because it was an emergency. And you're a zombie now. And you go bite someone, and now they're a zombie. And everyone's zombies.
Yeah.
So it could happen.
You know what zombie movie that I really dislike the premise of?
Which one?
Though is a World War Z. Because how the fuck is a random virus that's infected someone going to look at somebody and be like, yeah, you have cancer, I'm not going to bite you. Like, nah, they're going to bite you. and the guy sits there and he's being chased down by the zombie at the very end of the movie. And then he goes into the room with all the deadly stuff and then injects himself with something random that could have just killed him on the spot, which, you know, thank God for him winning the lottery that day and not getting whatever the fuck it was that would have just instantly killed him. But then he waits, 10 minutes and then walks out and the zombie's just like, I can't even see you, homie. What the fuck? I thought there was someone in here. Like, what kind of back-asswards logic is that? It just, I don't like the premise at all.
I mean, a lot of zombie movies are assholes, if you ask me. Like, just because it's so hard to actually put some credibility behind it, it's really hard to pull it off in a decent manner. Because sometimes zombies are like slow and stupid. Sometimes they're like fucking genetically enhanced bioweapons that can fucking jump over buildings and wreck your shit up.
Some of them Resident Evil zombies.
Yeah, like Resident Evil zombies. But all of them are assholes. Just because zombies don't exist. Yet. But they might one day. So that's some food for thought for you, Tony, because you said you don't believe zombies could ever exist. Like you said, something that doesn't exist cannot scare you. And I wanted to, maybe inoculate that thought in your head.
It still doesn't scare me, though, because even though there is the possibility of it happening, it has not happened, and I don't see that situation happening. Like, technically, you can speculate that it is a possibility for this fungus to evolve into being able to affect humans, and then humans become into zombies, and then all of a sudden I find myself in a zombie scenario. But the odds of that happening, in my eyes, are so low, it's still not something that I can immerse myself in.
See, for me, I'm less afraid of zombies and more afraid of, like, ghosts and demons. Maybe not ghosts, but, like, demons, you know? I feel like, what if there are demons? Like, what if there's Even if it's just bad energies, I don't know. I'm not a fucking scientist. I'm not a holy man. I don't know what lives out there in the wild of the nether.
The wild of the nether. You're gonna get
Yeah,
like a little
throwing down some
pigman's gonna break
Minecraft
your
terms
house and
here.
throw a fucking shit on you.
You cut out there. I didn't hear you.
Oh, that's fine. I said some pretty anti-Semitic shit, so.
Well, that's gonna get edited.
Why, Wizzy? Why are you so scared of the things we say in this podcast?
Anyways, so
every
I'm
other
more
thing
afraid-
I say, you're like, that's edited.
edited. Anyways, so I'm more afraid of that type of stuff, like demons. Like, I don't know, maybe someone released some bad juju in my house. Like, they lived there before me, and like the demon Toby's chilling in my room, and he just waits and waits, and he's slowly taking little bits of my soul, little bits of my sanity, and now I'm Wizzy, and I'm not smart, and I think good, and now I'm zombie and eat cave, kill mom, murder Tony, things like that.
I don't believe in ghosts, really. I don't think that even if the afterlife is real, who the fuck would want to stay on this planet after they died? Like, fuck off, go to heaven or hell, good luck. But like, the thing is, I trust science, and a lot of things that happen in these ghost stories, like hearing footsteps and laughing children and shit like that, it can all be explained generally by something. And one of the more prominent theories behind this is actually the carbon monoxide theory. Effectively, what it states is a lot of these places that ghost sightings are taking place at, that haunted houses are a thing, are generally older places, right? 50, 60 plus years old. And as a result of that, they've got weathered pipes, they've got poor,
they're just getting
airflow,
carbon monoxide
like
poisoning.
So what they're saying is that these pipes that carry dangerous gases like carbon monoxide are leaking, and it's causing people that enter these places to hallucinate, to hear things, all of which are symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning. So when you go into a house and you hear footsteps, I don't know, maybe put a carbon monoxide detector on the wall. Maybe you're getting fucking poisoned and might die tonight.
I don't know. You never just been in a house and just get bad vibes, like this place doesn't feel right?
I mean, I feel like that can just be explained by your own mental.
I don't know, because like I was having a great time. I was in Iceland with my girlfriend at the time, and we were having a great time. Everything was going good, and then we get to this one house, and everything just felt bad. Like nothing felt good. Like the lighting just made everything weird. Like the creaks of the house, everything just felt wrong. And like immediately after leaving there, everything was better and we were happier. And it was just like the house. There was nothing wrong with the house. The house was cool. Like the beds were chill. Like everything looked nice, but just something about the house felt wrong.
But here's the thing with that, and this is going to blow your fucking mind, is a symptom of carbon monoxide poisoning is also feelings of being watched. Like eerie feelings that you have when you enter these places is actually also a symptom of carbon monoxide poisoning.
But this is like a fairly newer house.
Right, and that could be an outlier. But generally, the majority of places that are haunted are older places.
I'm not saying it's haunted, but I'm just saying like sometimes like you go into a place and it just doesn't feel right. Like something doesn't feel good about this spot. You ever get that, Major?
I mean, I don't, and I mean,
well, you guys never go anywhere, so.
Oh yeah, you're Mr. Popular. You're going everywhere all the time.
I do a fair bit of traveling.
Like there was a thing that there was this guy named James Randi that it did. I don't know if you guys heard about him, and he was the guy that did the $1 million challenge to every psychic, fucking supernatural, paranormal claimer that if he could prove those exists, he would give them $1 million, and it started back in 1964. And over the course of 40 years, nobody was able to prove that. They had like thousands of people coming in and saying, I can fucking sniff plutonium out of buttholes because spirits tell me. Like that's not even a thing. I'm making up. Like there was one guy who came and said he could smell like fucking, I don't know what type of metal, just by using paranormal, or not sniffing, fucking feeling. I don't know what the fuck he said. But the thing
Licking,
is,
fuck it.
nobody was able to actually prove that they had any type of bond with the paranormal, with the supernatural, with anything. That being said, I've also had feelings of something being off when I'm in a house, but that's just because it's creepy. I mean, when you see a creepy house, you're gonna feel off about it. But if a ghost comes out of the wall and grabs my ass, now I'm gonna be, oh shit, ghosts are real, dog. He grabbed my ass.
Yeah, she gave me one of
But
them
if-
good squeezes.
She gave you a
Yeah,
little
like-
midsummer squeeze.
But like, if I hear a door fucking creaking, I'm gonna be like, oh shit, the door is creaking. Well, time to masturbate. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
that's. I also like to flex on the ghosts on my house in my house just by jerking off as soon as I see them in the room. Right, like my sleep paralysis demon ain't got nothing on how quick my hands are. But
Like, I'm haunting him. He ain't
yeah,
haunting me.
yeah,
Trust.
you're stuck in here with me, bitch.
Like, in which room you are? Because I'm doing it in this room. Are you in the hallway? I'm gonna do it in the hallway if you're here, bitch. Like,
I'm not here with you. You're here with me.
Bro,
Yeah,
you gonna get
exactly.
a sexual assault charge with your sleep paralysis demon?
Bro, I've had that once. It's only happened to me once, but I got hit by sleep paralysis and that shit is scary. I don't know why it happened. I might have had a binger or something the day before. I don't remember anymore. But I woke up and I couldn't move. I couldn't talk. I was just there with my eyes open for like a solid 5 minutes.
Yeah. That
And I've been
I
hit
think I've
with it.
experienced that like twice, and it's the scariest shit because you
That's
feel like you're just
terrifying.
paralyzed.
I've
Like-
literally experienced that like hundreds of times, dog. Like,
Oh,
no
really?
fucking cap.
That's
Yeah, it's probably
fucking
because of the
terrifying.
drugs.
Yeah, probably
Yeah,
all
it's
that
terrifying
cocaine.
as shit. No,
Um,
it actually started back when I was a kid, and I remember I was sleeping with my sister because I was like 3
Oh,
years old. She was 4 years.
Alabama.
No. Yo, chill with
Wait,
that. Chill with that.
oh.
And like, I woke up paralyzed. Yo, I'm telling a story, dog. And I woke up paralyzed, and I saw my sister next to me, and then she fucking 180s her head, and she goes like with this demonic voice, like, "You're stuck in here with me." And I fucking shit myself instantly. Wake up, still paralyzed. I look at my sister. She fucking turns her head 180 again. She's like, "You ain't waking up, bitch." Like, I pissed my fucking ass off. And that happened basically to the next 22 years of my life. Not the sister sleeping thing, but like the fucking sleep paralysis.
Are you serious? That actually
That's
happened? Like you had that?
terrifying.
Yeah, that
like,
actually
dream?
happened. Like, I'm not making up anything. Like, I swear to God. And the
And you don't
last
believe
one
in
I
like
had,
some demons, bro? That sounds like some
Nah,
demon shit right there.
nah, that's some fucking dog. Like, that's the thing. That's why I don't believe, because I know I was sleeping at the time, my body was sleeping at the time. So if consciously something happens to you, like, yo, I'm fucking awake, I'm not drunk, I'm not high, I'm not anything, and fucking Rupert the Third comes out through the wall and he's like, give me back my fucking slaves. I'll be like, oh shit, there's a fucking 1500 ghost here that wants to rip my ass.
So
But
what we're
if that's
learning
not
today
happening-
is Major Sister's possessed, and he just never realized it.
Yeah, honestly, if that happened to me, I think I'd believe in ghosts.
I'd be like,
All
well,
right.
shit, they fucking got me, man.
You know, when we said earlier that we have three brain cells between us, is like, I have 3 of them and you guys have almost 0.1. I have 2.9.
Oh
brain
yeah,
cells.
yeah. It's definitely Major who's the smartest person in this group.
But I'm fucking telling you how sleep paralysis works, and you're like, yo, dog, I see your assistant possessed.
Yeah.
Major, you're
Guys
not
fucking
making a
yawning.
good case for yourself today. Apparently, you're a psychotic.
You're
You're
a
psychotic.
serial
You're gonna be a serial killer when you get cancer. You've gotten this way because you've been possessed by a demon your entire life, and you didn't even pay attention to it. You're like, I'm fine. And your sister's a demon too, and you don't even know. You're just okay with it.
I think that's a good stopping point, to be honest. I mean, we're basically at the hour, so just recapping that Major's creepy and probably going to murder some people in his life. Me and Wizzy were normal human beings and have absolutely no bearing on what Major's psychotic plans are for the future. I think that's a pretty clean way to leave this episode off.
Yeah, I think that's a good end. So, Major, we'll probably never talk to you again. This is probably also our last podcast because Major's going to come find us and kill us.
Yeah, if you don't hear anything for us for a while, please call the police. Yeah, remember, his name is MajorProblems, and his real name is
I'll just put some static over it. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I just want to point out one single thing. I want to give it up to Tony and Wheezy because we forgot to mention this at the beginning of the podcast, but they actually are amazing ventriloquists, given that they can speak so clearly with my balls shoved down their fucking throats. So
that's getting edited out.
No. You give them a round of applause. Give them a round of applause.
Yes. Thank you. No, thank you. Definitely leave a comment down below if you believe in the paranormal or not, and if so, what do you believe in? Does it extend to everything supernatural, or is it just that I believe in ghosts or maybe Bigfoot? But yeah, definitely let us know your thoughts on that too.
And make sure you guys come check for a video next week. If there isn't one, it's because Major killed us.
Lizzie, that sounds so fake. All right, I'm ending my recording.
Bye, guys. We'll see you next time.